All right, thanks for coming back for video production number, where are we? Number 14, I think, or number 15 here. Titles part 4, and so we're taking a look here at the titles that we created in the previous lesson. And so hopefully you've got that done. We've got our 4 titles over the black video. And so now we're moving into our feature, and we're going to put our title right over this opening image here. And so I'm going to come over here and use the name of my movie. What did I come up with here? Let's see. Discover Lava Beds, Lava Beauty. So whatever title you want to come up with for your movie, that's fine, as long as it's appropriate and relevant to that which we are viewing. That'll be just fine. Okay. Now, you'll recall, it looks like I have 2 different things up here, but remember, this Matt Hartung video is just what is showing here on the timeline. So I can just simply take and scroll until I get, there we go, there's my opening image right there. Now the other thing you can do, of course, you can just simply click on the timeline anywhere you want on there, but we want it to be over this picture here. And so I'm going to use that as a guide to place my text. And notice we have that safe zone there to work with, and so that's going to be very helpful for us. So the first thing I'm going to want to do here is come on up here to the selection tool and place this, decide where I want to place it. Now there's some obvious things you should not do. That's a bad idea. Doesn't look good. We're blocking one of the key features of that nice picture. You don't want to exceed the boundaries of this inner zone. That's our title safe zone. And so somewhere within that zone is where we want to put this, and I can choose to put it in the center. I could do that and see how that looks. That's not too bad. Or I could put it off to one side a little bit. I could make it a little smaller, hold that shift key down. I could do something like that. And so I'm just going to experiment a little bit and see where I like that. So at this point, I would suggest that you go ahead and pause the video and take a look at your movie and see about where you might want to place that before we move on. All right, I have decided to place my title here in this lower left corner, and I made it a little bit smaller as far as the text size. And the one thing that I am going to add to this is to put a little slant to it, have it lean to the right just a little bit. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to come over here to the properties and come down here to slant, and you'll see right now it's at 0 degrees, so I'm going to increase that to about 10 degrees. Out right there. And so I think I just like to feel that just a little bit better though. So there's my title. And then I can go ahead and close that, and it'll save those changes. And then the next step is to go ahead and place this title right over that opening image. I'm going to zoom in so I have a little more control. And there's my movie title. I'm going to drag it directly to my timeline, put it on top. And so right away you can see that it's lasting longer than that 5 seconds. And by the way, you can expand these tracks. This track, video track 1, has been expanded by this little triangle here, collapse, expand track. So see there I have collapsed the track. But you can also do it to these upper level tracks too, so you get a little preview of your title there. So I'll right click, speed duration, and I'm going to see about making that last, let's try 3 seconds to start with, see what that does. Okay, now once again the placement is this. This is kind of the strategy you want to follow on all of these titles, is that you want, let's move this in. You want the new picture to fade in, but you want it to fade in completely before you bring something new to the screen. So the new picture fades in, and then we have that new picture, and then we can go ahead and put a new element in. And you can do it as long as you don't go over the top of that. That'll be okay. If you want to make it that close, you can, or you can just move it a few frames downstream. And then as long as this video is selected here, video track 2 is selected from our previous video, we can use the default transition, Control D. And it looks like I need to change those settings again. It looks like, yeah, that transition's lasting for an entire second, and I had changed that in the previous video to 15 frames or a half a second, and I want to do that again. For now, though, I'll just go ahead and double click it, and I'll just do it manually right there. 15 frames, like that. And then let's see what that looks like. So, new picture comes in, title, and I think I'm going to go ahead and make that last a little longer because that's moving pretty fast. So I think I'll make this 4 seconds. Well, can't quite do that because of the next transition there. So I'm going to have to shrink that down by about 11 frames there and put in my transition. Change that to 15 frames. I don't need that long of a fade. And then minus sign to minimize and take a look at it. So this is how you want these to look. Just make sure you don't put them on top of those previous dissolves, because I'll show you. This is what it looks like now. New picture, title comes up, title goes away, and we're off to the next picture. If we don't do that, it has this kind of a look, and it just doesn't feel right. It's just too much going on at one time. So this is the transition over the transition. See, we want to give people a chance to digest. So it's just a little too fast there. We want people to see that picture and then experience the next thing. So picture, title goes away, comes into the next picture. Looks like next up are a series of flower images. There's my flowers title. Okay, had to take a little break there. Custodian coming in to clean room 8. No problem. So, flowers are up next. I don't like the location. And what we're going to do is double click that. Bring that down. I'm going to choose to put that there in the lower left. Yeah, if you want to do something different, that's okay. As long as you don't do that. Don't go and violate that title safe zone. You want to stay within those, in that inner border there. I'm going to go ahead and put my slant on there. That's about the only change I'm going to make for now. And there's our change. And we've inserted transitions. And that looks good, and we're ready to move on to our next title, which is Caves. So, go ahead and bring that, place it on the timeline, adjust it. Looks pretty good. My slant's already been done. Everything looks good. I'm going to leave it right there. And let's see what's next. Oh, we better put some transitions in there. And I went ahead and took care of that default transition there, so it only lasts for 15 frames. Let's see here. Another cave. Ice cave. Now, here's Canby's Cross. And because I have this sign here, it's really not necessary to put another title. It's fairly self-explanatory, so we're just going to let that go because we used something that was at the location to help tell our story, which is actually a little more effective than cranking out a bunch of titles. Same thing here, Gillam's Camp. We're doing okay here. Let's see if there's anything else. Gillam's Camp, Gillam's Camp. Petroglyph Point, we don't need a title there. We're okay here, here. I don't know if we're going to need those other titles here. Let's see what we've got here. Here we go, Cinder Cone. So we have some options here. We've got a Cinder Cone title, and this is also Scontian Butte. Right here. And so I'm going to choose to... I think what I'll do is just use the Cinder Cone title there for this particular one. So I'm going to bring it out here and see how it looks. Don't want it there, not in the center. That's covering up our main subject. Once again, I'm going to bring it down here. Put in my slant. Adjust my duration. Transition, Control D. And remember that Control D works because I am selected on video 2. If I take that off, it's not going to work. Got to have that selected. Control D. Cinder cones. And I think I'm just about finished. Okay, so now we can go in and take care of our last two. Here we've got edited, and what else? What do we have left here? Edited by Mad Hartung, and what is this one? Probably the time, yeah, the date that it was completed. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to use two titles here over the black. So our movie's going to fade out. And we're going to put our name right there. Oh, that's my date. We are going to need that, so I'll just go ahead and just move that downstream. That's going to be our last one. I'll put that there. And then this should be me. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to put that right next to that transition. I don't like the way that looks, so I'm going to... Oh yeah, that's all out of whack. We need to adjust that. Get that in the center. And then we'll go ahead and put a date. Transitions. Let's see how that looks. Almost. We're going to fix that date. I want that date right down here, and I want it a lot smaller. It's just a reference so that we know when this thing was produced. Does not have to be real large. And we can make that last a little longer. Real easy to extend our black video because there's nothing in the way. So I'm just going to make this last just, I think we had about 10 seconds on there. I'm just going to stretch that out a little bit. And then stretch out my date so it lasts a little bit longer. And not being real precise, you might have noticed that I'm not going in and typing in exact amounts of time for this video. Not required. There are times when you have to have exact amounts of time. But right now, we're just trying to learn the fundamentals. So there's my edited by. Here's the date. I'm going to move that just a little bit. There, a little more delay. Fade to black, and the movie is done. Control S to save. And there you have it. Titles on the movie. can look back through the timeline. Make sure there's no violations over the space. Everything looks okay. We didn't have to use titles here because we had them built into our pictures. And we are ready for some audio. So we'll take care of that in our next video. Good luck with those titles, and thanks again for watching and doing the great work that you're doing.